I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to introduce our veteran today, Major Robert J. Turlip. He's a U.S. Army retired. He earned his commission from the University of Scranton ROTC program in May of 1988 as an armor officer. He later transferred into the artillery. He served more than 22 years in the United States Army, the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, and the U.S. Army Reserve. His key assignments included Battery Commander in 107th Field Artillery in Newcastle, Battery Commander 109th Field Artillery in Kingston, Operations Officer for the 128th Division Artillery in Hershey, in support of Operation K405, and Northeast Regional Commander, 8th Brigade, Senior ROTC, 84th Training Command, and U.S. Army Reserve in Charlottesville, Virginia. Major Turlip has trained as an Army officer, a field artillery officer, a civil affairs officer, and has attended the Combined Arms Staff School, Total Army Instructor School, and Command and General Staff College. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management from the University of Scranton and a Master's degree in Public Administration from Widener University. His awards include Meritorious Service Medal, 3 awards, Army Commendation Medal, 4 awards, Army Achievement Medal, 4 awards, National Defense Service Medal, 2 awards, Global War on Terrorism Medal, the Army Reserve Component Overseas Training Ribbon, and many others. He's the past Vice Commander of the American Legion, currently running for the Commander of the American Legion Department of Pennsylvania. Major Turlip and his wife, Melissa, reside in Archville, where he is incredibly active. They have 3 children, Mara Turlip, Army Captain Robert Turlip Jr., and Ryan Turlip. Major, would you honor us, please, with leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Major, if you would.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Commissioners, for having me today. It's an honor to be here. A few words. I just want to give you an update about our Veterans Park in Archibald. Our park is about 50% complete. It's coming along very nicely. We're going to start construction again here soon with the weather cooperating in our favor. Hopefully, we're going to have this park complete by September and have a nice ceremony. We do have veterans plaques that are available. The park, we're going to do 420 veterans plaques. We're about halfway there, so if anyone would like one, the cost of the plaques is $550. They're all granite, and they're individually placed for the veteran. We do have some beautiful statues and that are being done by Steve Colley at Marywood University in collaboration with him, and we recently started seeking funding for a woman's veterans tribute statue that Steve is working on. Beautiful statue that we'll be doing in their honor. And finally, I am running for Department of Commander of the American Legion for Pennsylvania. I am a past District 11 commander, which is Lackawanna County, and I look forward to representing Lackawanna County as a member of the American Legion. Thank you.
The commissioners, Thank you for all your service and all of the work that you've been doing. The area of the memorial in Archibald is just incredible, and I know this team here and our past county commissioners, together with our state representatives and senators, have been working really hard in our grants department. Sandy Opshinsky and their team have been working very hard in trying to gain those funds for you, and I know they're happy and proud to be able to do so. And thank you for all of your work. And if you could come up for a quick picture. Before we continue with the meeting and the public comment, we have a couple of citations and certificates to speak of. The first regarding our libraries. This is a proclamation we're honored to make during this National Library Week. The citation that we have here, I'll abbreviate it just a bit. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery, and libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. Whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, creativity for all, and they protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. We, the County Commissioners, Tom Welby, Bill Gaughan, and Chris Chermak, do hereby recognize and proclaim April 19th through the 25th as National Library Week in Lackawanna County. And if do we have Sandy Longo here? Please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time this morning and for your support of National Library Week. I'm Sandy Longo, the Executive Director of the Lackawanna County Library System. And as you just read, this year's theme for National Library Week is Find Your Joy, highlighting the vital role of libraries and staff playing in transforming lives and strengthening communities. If you would indulge me, I'd like to take this opportunity to highlight our member libraries and some of their efforts to date. Before I begin, I'd like to share my appreciation for all of our dedicated and talented staff. All of our directors are here with me today, who strive every day to provide the service, resources, and programs their respective communities deserve and need, as well as volunteers. Some board members are actually here with me today as well, who populate our hardworking, ever-present governing boards, facilitate programs, lead fundraising efforts, and so much more. We're fortunate to have such a wonderful village. Alphabetically, I'll begin with Abington Community Library, located in Clark Summit. They continue the dedication to cursive and the development of cursive through Cursive Club with their children's librarian, Leanne Pahalski. She was actually interviewed recently by the New York Times on the rise in popularity of cursive in the United States. They held a successful inaugural local author fair in September of 25, with more than 20 local authors attending, or participating, and they also held a commemorative brick paver fundraiser and raised more than $8,500 to support their operating expenses. Next is Carbondale Public Library, who takes pride in featuring intentional programming, which aims to develop the fine motor skills, introduce the concept of following directions, and sitting in a group with, in the name of preparing their youngest patrons for preschool and kindergarten. Dalton Community Library, the smallest among us, but always packs a powerful punch. Whether they're welcoming the highest number of attendees throughout the entire library system with their collaborative grant with the Everhart Museum for a folk music performance by Doug Smith, or enjoying their supporters who help them not only reach, but also double their fundraising goals they set for NEPA gifts. North Pocono Public Library, located in Moscow, is proud of their active Friends group, who hold monthly programs, which include bingo, movies, trivia events. With always enjoying much success with their youth services programs and events, they're now enjoying the same success with programs and events for adults. And they're highly successful and well received by the community. The Scranton Public Library manages the Lackawanna County Bookmobile. It has been on the road for nearly 9 months. And in just 1 month, just to give you an idea, they had circulation of 2,118 items. So they're keeping pace with a couple of our bricks and mortars, which is a good thing. The library also enjoys a partnership with the Scranton School District, which includes, but is not limited to, hosting student art exhibits and class trips. And the library has taken a strategic step in increasing their presence throughout Dunmore through the Dunmore Community Center, the YMCA, and the Bookmobile stops. Taylor Community Library combats senior isolation with their craft programs. Some attendees have cultivated friendships turned travel buddies, and the library enjoys strong partnership with the United Way's Success by Six. And finally, Valley Community Library, located in Peckville, having a strong foothold in collection development, pays mind to also their gaming community, and they've expanded their library of things to include PlayStation 5 games. One patron actually recently shared a story with them on her savings, her recent savings, well, accumulated savings of $2,300 by using the library. Every 2 weeks, she goes to the library and gets 6 new books, and that's how much money she saves. It's a good deal to go to the libraries. And in closing, I invite everyone to stop by their local library or their favorite library and find their joy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you all and the volunteers and all that the libraries provide for us. And to cover those things that you speak of, and I believe you also have 3D printing available for people, and it's just amazing. And also you can take out, so to speak, rent tools, take out tools, borrow tools.
The first to have a library of things, you'd be amazed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you also have some great classes. I was just at a seed starting class, and I don't know if it'll help me, but this past week. Thank you. Would you all come up for a quick picture? Scott, nice hair.
One, two, three. Big smiles. One, two, three.
Can I also do a quick plug commercial for, thank you, Beta Bread, for your support, too. We do have 2 other acknowledgements, 2 other certificate citations that we'd like to speak of today. This next one is very special to all of us, and I'm sure to all of you, and that is regarding ALS. There aren't too many people that I know of that aren't aware of someone with ALS or someone who has been affected and lost someone to ALS. It's just an incredible disease. But we have someone, you're actually 2 people here regarding this that one in particular, Paul Miller, is the poster child for survivability of ALS, and he's just incredible. But if I may, whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, often known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive, fatal neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. ALS takes away a person's ability to walk, talk, eat, and ultimately breathe, while usually leaving the mind fully functional. And whereas this devastating disease has no known cause, no known cure, and no effective treatment to prevent or reverse the condition, every 90 minutes, a person is diagnosed with ALS, and every 90 minutes, someone passes away from this disease, with an average survival rate of only 2 to 5 years from diagnosis. And whereas ALS impacts not only the person diagnosed, but also takes a severe physical, emotional, and financial toll on the entire family, caregivers, and community. This county recognizes the critical need for increased research, improved care services, and access to assistive technology, as well as the tireless work of organizations like the ALS Association, and our caregivers in providing support. Whereas May 2026 is observed across the nation as ALS Awareness Month to educate the public and honor those living with ALS and remember those lost to this horrible disease. Now, therefore, we, Tom Welby, Chris Chermak, and Bill Gaughan, commissioners of the County of Lackawanna, do hereby recognize and proclaim May 26th as ALS Awareness Month in Lackawanna County. We also would like to acknowledge, coincidentally, this coming Saturday is the ALS Walk. We hope that you'll join us over at the stadium for this, and there's still time to sign up. Is that right, Paul?
Yes, it's this Saturday at PNC Field. Registration's at 10 a.m. And if you want to sign up or donate to the walk, it's Scranton ALS United Walk.org. And if you really want to get personal, Team Miller time.
That's right.
Donate for Team Miller time. Thank you, commissioners, for having me. ALS is a death disease with no cure, and there probably won't be a cure in my lifetime. You have 3 to 5 years to live after diagnosis. I'm kicking ALS.
Yeah.
I'm 14 years, and I can't walk or run, but I sure can do things around the house, no matter how large or small. I have to take it as a big accomplishment. But in 2010, our son was killed by a distracted driver, tractor-trailer driver. And we think the stress and trauma from that triggered the ALS, because I really kept everything inside. I hope you can make it to the walker, send in some kind of donation. I speak at colleges, nursing programs, PA, PT, OT, and I've been speaking for 7 years. I thought perhaps I would have lost my voice by now, but I'm still doing it. And thank you for the support.
Well, we can't. Paul, we absolutely love you. You're an incredible human being and quite a fighter. And Eileen, your wife, is quite a fighter too. What the two of you have been through and continue to go through is an inspiration to everyone that lives. And you as a fighter is just incredible. We absolutely love you, appreciate you. I used to work with Eileen at WNEP, and when they lost their son, it was just a horrible, preventable tragedy. Coming up Route 33 from Lehigh Valley, where a tractor trailer crossed the road, a distracted driver, proven and convicted distracted driver, crossed the highway and smashed head-on into their son, killing him on the scene. It was just horrible. And since that time, the two of them and their daughter have fought valiantly to improve the distracted driving laws in Pennsylvania. And the states around us have passed significant and appropriate distracted driving laws where you cannot hold a handheld device in your hands when you're driving. Pennsylvania continued to allow that to happen. Eileen and Paul have worked for 10 years, more than 10 years, working on this. And just finally, just recently, the state legislators in our region, together with particularly Senator Rosemary Brown and Marty Flynn and Kyle Mullins and Kyle Donahue and myself when I was down there, finally passed appropriate distracted driving legislation that makes it illegal now for you to hold a handheld device in your hands. But there still is no fine associated with that, but it comes into effect in June. It finally reaches the level, at least somewhat. And Eileen, if you could speak to that. It is also National Distracted Driving Month, so it's appropriate to have you here today.
Well, thank you, Commissioners, for having me. So Paul Miller's Law goes into effect of June of this year, and you will receive a citation. You can solely be pulled over for just holding your phone in your hand or supporting it with any part of your body. You can use Bluetooth, you can use speakerphone, but I highly recommend that you don't, because even talking on your phone, you are still distracted in your brain. It takes 37 seconds for you when you're looking at your phone for you to look up and regain going back to the road. You're still thinking of what you were last looking at, your email, your text, your messages. And I want to make it clear, it took 12 years in Harrisburg of advocating. I was constantly down there, more probably than the actual state representatives. Actually, some of the Capitol Police are like, we have a room for you, Mrs. Miller. And everybody has been so supportive. Again, like you said, Senator Rosemary Brown, I'm forever grateful. I'm not even in her district, and I worked with her on the Safe 80 task force they had in Monroe County, and I knew she would be the one. I reached out to her, and she was the main push and goal for it. Many setbacks. It's monumental legislation. We couldn't even get it before the Transportation Committee. First, we had a hearing, and then Secretary Mike Carroll was in Transportation, which now he's ahead of PennDOT. So everybody that I worked with for 12 years has now gone up, including you, Commissioner Welvey, our days at WNEP. Yeah, so I just want to remind people, because I'm still seeing them, you cannot use your phone in your hand or that while you are temporarily stopped. So that means at red lights, that means at stop signs, that means when you're waiting on 81 in traffic, because that's when somebody can run out in front of you and you're not paying attention, you're looking at your phone. That's why pedestrians are being hit in crosswalks. That's why red lights are being run by people. So we really want to get that phone out of the hand. It's an addiction and it kills people. It took 1 second for my son to die, because the semi-truck driver didn't do the right thing. My son did everything. He was going to become a police officer, and unfortunately, he never got that chance. So again, I really want to thank everybody who sponsored the bill, who worked on the bill. But June 5th, it goes into effect. And I also want to remind people that starting Memorial Day, it is the deadliest days of summer up until Labor Day. So it's a perfect time for the law to come into effect. You'll get a $50 fine plus court costs, which is over $200. But this is the time when everybody's out on the road, kids are out, and crashes go up. And we want to make sure we call these crashes. These are not accidents. A crash is preventable. An accident is when, like, a deer runs out in front of your car. So please, everybody, when you're in your vehicle, your main goal is to get to one destination to another and to get there safely. So I just want everybody to stay safe, and thank you so much, everybody, for supporting me. Legislation is not easy, as we know, but if you keep going at it, you can get it. And I wanted to prove that just one mom could get that done, and I was able to accomplish that. I promised my son at the morgue when I saw him that when I found out what it was, I would fight for change. And I'm still continuing. My mission is not over. I have a lot more I have to do. And of course, taking care of my husband, Paul. We're all a challenge, but we're very positive. And I just want to remind people, please, 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 there's no text, no cell phone, no Instagram, nothing worth your life. Pull over in a safe destination and use your phone. Eyes up, phone down.
Amen. Thank you, Eileen and Paul. The work that you put into everything that you do, you're an inspiration to people that I don't know if people can dedicate themselves as much as you two do, but I think you demonstrate to us with your work that we can give up a few minutes a day to help out on something, and thank you for all that you do. And just a reminder, too, for the walk this weekend, the ALS walk. And also, I'm sorry, real quick, I did want to mention, I spoke to Representative Kyle Mullins about this and the proclamation, and Kyle Mullins lost his dad to ALS, and he wanted to be here, as you know, but he's in session today. But he sends his love and prayers to be with you today. But if you could, we'd take a moment. Don't forget about this Saturday, and even just Google ALS Walk Scranton, and you will find it, and proud to be a Team Miller member. Can we take a picture with you, if you would? Also, we do want to acknowledge an event, a so to speak, International Awareness Day that occurs tomorrow. We'd like to acknowledge a young lady who lives in Lackawanna County, Brittany Marie Gallagher, the daughter of Kevin Gallagher. I should acknowledge the whole Gallagher family. Brittany was diagnosed at her birth with International 4P Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome. And tomorrow is 4P Wolff-Hirschhorn Syndrome Awareness Day. It was established to support those living with and affected by 4P syndrome through every stage of their life and to focus on the spotlight of this genetic disorder. Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome can affect anyone. In most cases, aren't inherited. Instead, the condition is the result of random chromosome deletion. People who experience this chromosome change generally don't have a history of the condition in their family. Studies show that girls are more likely to have Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome, and that children may have excellent social skills but might struggle with language and communicating. Together, we're proud to do what we can to bring awareness about this complex syndrome and to help save lives. We ask that you join this International 4P Wolff-Hirschhorn Syndrome Awareness Day and show your support and acknowledge the continued awareness efforts of the 4P Wolff-Hirschhorn syndrome community. One way is to encourage you to perhaps wear jeans, and the National Association is asking you to consider that as an awareness level, and they ask further that tomorrow wear a pair of jeans with a hole in them. To symbolize the missing material in 4P syndrome. So today and every day we honor Brittany Marie Gallagher and the entire Gallagher family. Thank you. If you would, the reading and approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Reading approved. We have the Controller's Audit and Activity Report.
Good morning, Commissioners. As mandated by the Home Rule Charter, the Controller must submit to the public, through you, its annual audit activity report each year. I'd like to read my cover letter that goes along with it, if I may. In accordance with the Lackawanna County Home Rule Charter, Section 1.4-402, I publicly submit the Lackawanna County Controller's Annual Audit Activity Report for 2025. This report is intended to be an informative presentation of the work performed by the Controller's Office during the year 2025. This report also includes the Controller's Office 2026 budget narrative. It is a pleasure to provide this report to the citizens of Lackawanna County who have entrusted me to be the county's chief internal auditor and lead the Controller's Office. I'd like to extend the appreciation of the Controller's Office to all those within Lackawanna County government who graciously cooperated with our auditors this past year. I wish to thank the dedicated employees of the Controller's Office for their hard work in helping to continue to ensure accountability for county taxpayers. This past year, my former Deputy Controller, Reginald Mariani, retired from full-time work and is moving on to as-needed work. I'd like to congratulate Reggie on his retirement and thank him for his many years of dedicated service in the Controller's Office. Reggie's knowledge, expertise, and his willingness to help all departments throughout our county government has been valuable assets. He will be greatly missed when he's not there on a daily basis. After an extensive search, Kimberly Rose was selected to fill the important role of Deputy Controller, and I'm happy to report that Kim is doing a wonderful job, and together we continue to serve the county and its taxpayers. It is my honor and privilege to serve as Lackawanna County Controller. My staff is here today. I just want to quickly point them out. Nancy Craik is here, Ella Walsh, Susan Henry, Cindy Borgna, Terry Rizzo, Kim Rose, Elaine Kingsley, Reggie Mariani, and Lindsay Holland. And copies of my report are on the county website, and copies can be obtained at my office here on second floor. And thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We have our broadband assessment report. So, Wireless Administrator Kim Walker. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are excited to share an update on the broadband assessment plan, currently underway with HRG Engineering Group. Beginning April 13th and continuing through July 13th, residents and business owners will have the opportunity to provide valuable feedback on their internet experience through the Lackawanna County Broadband Survey. To complete the survey, we are encouraging everyone to visit the Lackawanna County website. The information gathered from these surveys will help identify broadband service needs regarding high-speed and reliable internet. It will take approximately 5 to 7 minutes and includes a speed test. To ensure accurate results, participants should complete the survey using their home internet connection, or for business owners on their business network rather than any cellular data. For those who don't have internet access at home or who are unable to complete the survey online, paper copies will be available at their local library, municipal building, and the government center. We'd like to say thank you to all the departments that assisted with the launch and to all our wonderful partners. And lastly, we really appreciate the Commissioner's support and in helping us spread the news of the Lackawanna County Broadband Survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. And just, we do encourage everyone to visit that website. It has the link to check your broadband speed. And we encourage you to, with every device you have and every location in which you use broadband to get in and do that. The information that you contribute in doing that is invaluable to this study. Thank you for this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And now we have the opportunity for the public to address the board. Agenda items only, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
My name's Tim Kelly. I'm here to talk about your ICE policy, Resolution 260116. I had taken a look at your policy, and I can see where you say it's not to interfere with lawful enforcement activities. It's not to impede lawful enforcement officers. But it doesn't define what lawful enforcement is. I mean, you set forth a procedure in here where your staffers, your department heads or whatever, can talk to the solicitor, can talk to supervisors or whatever, if someone comes in looking for records or other matters. However, that's assuming ICE is going to peacefully walk into the office, give them a piece of paper, let them look at it, and say, may we please have the records. That's not been the history of ICE. More than likely, ICE is going to break the door down, demand the records, wave a piece of paper in front of your staffer, and say, if you don't give me the records right now, we're going to arrest you and haul you off. I mean, I like the steps in your procedure to vet whether these actions are lawful or not, but I don't think practically it works. The other issue I have is, at a prior meeting, you were given advice that if you passed the Protect Our Citizens ordinance, you might be sued or you could be sued. The operative words being might be or could be. Nobody sues anybody for passing an ordinance. It's other matters that may invoke a lawsuit down the street. But on the other hand, has anybody looked at the other side of this? What happens if you assist someone, an ICE agent, in enforcement activity, but that activity is not lawful? Someone's hurt, somebody's civil rights are violated. You're looking at a lawsuit from that person or that person's estate. It's going to be a civil rights action under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. The Political Subdivisions Tort Claims Act is not going to give you immunity from that sort of an action. You're on the hook for it. If something like that happens, ICE is going to protect its agent. Look what it did in Minnesota. But not going to protect you. You guys are going to be left hanging out there. I would hope you do not pass this ordinance as it stands. Consider it more, put more teeth into it. Honestly, the first proposal where it was we're not going to help ICE probably is the best way to look at this. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Will Cohen. I'm a Scranton resident of 16 years. And I also want to speak to the plan for how to deal with federal immigration enforcement. I want to mention first that I have 16 letters here from local students in support of the kinds of protections for our immigrant and refugee neighbors that the Protect Our Neighbors Act had put forward. I can give these to Mr. Jeffers or whoever is appropriate to be the holder of them to pass along to the commissioners. It's important to recognize that, I continue to hear from a number of people who would like to be here at these meetings but are not able because of the time at 10 a.m. on a weekday. I have a general comment and then a more specific one speaking to Commissioner Welby's proposed plan that was released yesterday to the public. The general comment is this. As a county, there is no legal obligation to cooperate or collaborate with federal immigration enforcement short of being presented with a judicial warrant. But there is a moral obligation to be as little a part of federal immigration enforcement as legally possible, for the reasons that have been laid out repeatedly over the past months. And I would add that there's also a political obligation to, respond to the constituents within the county. As far as my specific comment goes, I think it's important to think back to what triggered or precipitated this initiative in the first place. It was that a local county official was contacted by federal immigration enforcement. The Commissioner Gahn rightly realized that a policy had to be put in place to deal with these kinds of situations. And I think we should be clear. That kind of contact, whether it's with ICE or Border Patrol, picking someone off here in the county or someone off there in the county and having that person cooperate with ICE is not ruled out by saying we're not going to do a 287G agreement. It's good that we're not going to do a 287G agreement as a county, so that's a positive thing to have in the proposal. But I don't think anybody ever thought we were going to do a 287G. That's really going far into bed, much farther with cooperation and collaboration with federal immigration enforcement than anybody had ever, I think, anticipated. So that's an important point to remember what the purpose of this is for, and it's to protect people. And I don't believe that the plan as currently configured does enough to protect the people that the Protect Our Neighbors Act was aimed at protecting. The plan stipulates that any county official receiving a request from federal immigration enforcement must go to a supervisor. Okay, and that's a good step. However, we should not leave it unclear or up to the discretion of supervisors as to what they're going to do at that point, or even the county solicitor, who may change over time or whose views may change over time. So it's very important that the policy include what's going to happen, and specifically this. It should be stated that the county will only respond when legally required with a judicial warrant, and things short of that are not required. So there are statements in the plan as currently presented, like this policy is also made with the explicit understanding that effective law enforcement requires cooperation among agencies at all levels of government that are misplaced, and they send the wrong message. Instead, we need to go back to that February 11th memo of Solicitor Walker, and that language, which included things like this, that non-judicial ICE detainers are requests, not mandates, as well as statements saying that the 10th Amendment prohibits the federal government from compelling state or local governments to enforce federal regulatory programs. So we need that kind of language back. We need it clear that the county as a policy will not respond to and invest energy and time into responding to administrative warrants, only to judicial warrants. Thank you. Oh, and last thing, passing this and then saying we're going to do an amendment later is not good. We've all spent a lot of time on this. The last 2 weeks were the time to work this this thing out, and we can spend 2 more weeks to do it.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Balmer from Covington Township, and I'm here to express my thanks to Commissioner Welby for coming back to the table so soon, keeping this on the agenda. I think I was a little harsh last time in my remarks, and I'm emotional. I'm a mom, and I was scared that some of the wording we were really hoping for was not going to be in there, and you added that in, and I really, truly appreciate that. Thank you for listening to our community members and for taking our concerns seriously. Of course, I want to thank you again, Commissioner Gahan, for working together with Mr. Welby to keep this on the agenda. And my personal hope is that you will vote on this and pass this today. I know we do worry about the amendments maybe not being made later on, but personally, I would feel better having something passed today and maybe having you look at some of the wording going forward. I wonder in particular if the language surrounding judicial and administrative warrants could be updated to specifically state that administrative warrants are not sufficient to grant access to county records or to detain individuals. And I know that it does say to refer to the county solicitor, and with all due respect, I would like to see it in writing because we don't know who the solicitor could be in the future and what their discretion may involve. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly mean that. Thank you for keeping this on the agenda. I hope you will vote on it. I hope you will pass it. And thank you for showing us how county government should work.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Nicotera, and I'm a student at the University of Scranton. And I'm coming here, as I have in the past few meetings, to express my discontent with the current formulation of the ordinance, I believe, resolution. I believe that this is a step in the right direction since last session, and Commissioner Welby, I deeply appreciate your willingness to table it last time and attempt to get it into a better state, and a state that better reflects the concerns of your constituents and the concerns of vulnerable people here in Scranton and the entire Wilkes-Barre-Scranton area, NEPA. I think it's really admirable and constructive that you were able to make a positive change like that, but at the same time, I feel like it is incredibly important that we attempt to get this right, and I think waiting 2 more weeks to get this right and attempting to move closer to what Commissioner Gollin had originally proposed would absolutely have a much better effect on the community and protect people who need it the most. It's very clear to me, at least, that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Patrol have engaged in serious violations of civil rights across the country over the past year, and I think it's equally clear that they aren't necessarily going to have a respect for the law or a respect for, how should I put it, the comfort and safety of people here and of officials of the county who have to speak with them and have to interact with them. And I think having stronger protections for county employees is going to be very important in making sure that they know what to do, what to comply with, what not to comply with, as opposed to just sending it back to a supervisor. Sending it back to a supervisor or potentially, ending up pressured, something like that. Because yes, there was a case where a county employee was contacted off the record and pressured, and I feel like that's just putting our hardworking employees here in a bad place, and I feel like we need stronger language to protect them. Additionally, there is no obligation for a municipal government to comply with anything short of a signed judicial warrant, and so there is not. I know it was discussed whether or not it's likely the county won't be sued, that sort of thing. But there is serious legal precedent showing that we are not significantly at risk of a successful suit. And so I just feel like it's important to keep that in mind and important to understand that standing up for and having moral clarity for those most vulnerable in our community should come first and should be a major moral obligation of the commissioners and of Lackawanna County broadly. So I really thank you for your time, and I do, once again, Commissioner Welby, I want to thank you for tabling last time, and I sincerely hope that you will table this time, because I think this can absolutely turn into something really useful for the community and valuable for the community. But in its present state, I feel like it has so much more work still to be done. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jenny Gonzalez. Thank you to all of the Commissioners for listening to our concerns over the last several months on this matter. Commissioner Gahan, I want to specifically thank you for introducing the Protect Our Neighbors Act a few months ago. That ordinance sought a necessary standard for protecting the constitutional rights and human dignity for every resident of Lackawanna County, irrespective of their immigration status. Commissioner Welby, thank you for taking our concerns seriously and giving them the attention that they deserve. And Commissioner Chermak, though we are not aligned and I strongly disagree with your reasoning, I do appreciate your transparency on your position on where you stand on this matter. This transparency, however, reveals a narrative that divides rather than protects. I must challenge the insinuation that our immigrant neighbors are a threat to public safety. Statistics show that fewer than 7% of the ICE detainees have violent criminal records. While the crimes you mentioned 2 weeks ago are tragic and must be punished, using them to characterize an entire population is a harmful generalization. Research shows that crime rates actually drop as immigrant populations grow. Our goal all these months have been to ultimately prevent exploitation and abuse that happens when people are too afraid to call the police. We are advocating for policies that encourage community cooperation with law enforcement, not a narrative that divides us based on fear. To those that argue that law and order must come at the expense of a family seeking safety or opportunity, you have clearly never sat down to hear immigrants and refugee stories. I guarantee those stories would mirror those of your own European ancestors who came here with the same hopes and dreams. You may be tired of hearing us urge and implore that you stand on the right side of history, but for many of our neighbors, it is already too late. We are already seeing the trauma of a mass deportation agenda unfolding in our neighborhoods. As a mother, nothing is more disheartening than having to console your 7th grader who was told by a classmate that they hope ICE takes her parents right after the election in November of 2024. It is gut-wrenching to explain to an 8th grader why she can no longer attend school in person because her father was detained on his way to work in Southside, and now her safety is at risk. It is a heavy burden to stand in a detention center and watch children cry, knowing that they've been told they aren't allowed to hug their detained parents for too long. These aren't just concerns, they are the broken hearts of our children in our community here in northeastern Pennsylvania. So I continue to urge you to find it in your hearts to protect our neighbors by adding clear safeguards to Commissioner Welby's policy proposal. We still need language confirming that Lackawanna County will not collect citizenship or immigration data. We also need to clarify that administrative warrants are not judicial mandates. They are voluntary requests, and our county should only cooperate with a court-ordered judicial warrant. Lastly, we need language that clearly states that federal immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. By formalizing this, you are ensuring that our local government stays in business of serving its people, not doing the job of federal agents at the expense of our community's trust. Overall, I feel so much pride in our county today. While other areas near us are moving toward 287G partnerships, Lackawanna County is standing firm in its commitment to its immigrant neighbors. For 2 months, we've listened to people share their families' journeys to the United States, stories that remind us why people come here and how much they have given back. Northeastern Pennsylvania is a better place because of the immigrants who have built their lives here, and the recent waves of migration are only adding to that historical richness. We are more diverse, vibrant, and successful community because we choose to welcome our neighbors rather than alienate them. As you refine Commissioner Welby's proposal, I urge you to honor that legacy and choose a policy that reflects the inclusive future our children deserve. Please remember that the eyes of our community, including our children, are on you. For many of us, this isn't just a policy, it's personal. Some of us have to go home tonight and tell our children whether their security and livelihoods were protected today by your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. First, I would like to thank Commissioner Gunn for even getting this whole process started, and also thank you, Commissioner Welby, for keeping it going. As you guys know, a lot of times I live stream the commissioner meetings for those who can't come, so I got a lot of messages today just about thank yous for being able to look over the agendas and look over the resolutions, and for the process still to be going so that they have had time to be able to read those things over.
I'm sorry, I think we all know you, but for the record, would you identify
My
yourself,
name is
please?
Amber Viola. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No, please.
Yes, my name is Amber Viola. I live here in Scranton. So I did have a lot of comments, and a lot of us truly believe that if our politicians and the people that work for us are doing the right things, that we need to publicly thank them and reassure them and, let them know that we're on our side. This is something that's still very much happening. Me and Minnie had seen ICE actually in a gas station, and she noted who they were because she was wondering who was all, super armed up and vested up and stuff running around, and they actually asked permission to go into the bathroom of the gas station, and I talked to the attendants, and they felt very uncomfortable. I felt very uncomfortable, but I felt like it was my duty as a citizen to kind of just stand there and make sure that they were okay, because they were immigrants and I was not. But still, there was still the cautionary concern for me, just being a Black American still in that situation. So this is something that's still very much happening in Lackawanna County, in Scranton, right here in our backyard. So I definitely think that is still a concern. And for even the people who do not particularly necessarily agree, I do appreciate the transparency, and I appreciate all of us still being able to come to the table. So thank you.
Thank you. And just to acknowledge real quick, Amber. Amber is a veteran, and Amber, we thank you for your service. We thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you.
Good morning. Tim Dully, relatively new resident of Scranton over in the Hill section, a relatively new parent, in fact. I'd like to come before you all today to thank you for your work and thank you for considering all of this. I want to support some of the more technical points made by previous speakers, Will Cohen and Jenny Gonzalez. But I also just want to add my voice to say that as I raise my family and we settle here in Scranton, I would encourage you to continue making it a place which welcomes migrants, which welcomes refugees, which welcomes them for the betterment of our community and for the common good. And to me, I think that means creating a county and a county law enforcement system which is minimally compliant with ICE. And so I thank you for any language you can work into the bills for that.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding agenda items?
Can you guys reset that clock, please? Thank you.
It resets as you
Oh,
start.
does it? Good, okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I guess the thing I'd like to say is count the votes. For this measure to pass, all we need is 2 votes, 2 people voting in the affirmative. But just a programming note, Mr. Gahn, I'd like to correct you. In our last confrontation, you stated that I was a convicted felon. That's untrue, so I'm correcting the record. I'm guilty of a misdemeanor and I've served my time, but it's not as a convicted felon. So I retain my full First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble and address my government, and also my Second Amendment rights to remain an armed and truthful United States citizen. So starting off, I want to say, it's not our job to know if someone's legal or illegal. No one in this room can pass that judgment. We don't know. Fortunately, the borders are closed right now. So we've stopped the initial problem, the root cause. As Kamala Harris would say, look at the root cause. The root cause was open borders, people flooding in unvetted. Well, that's fixed by President Trump. Now comes our turn to do our part in protecting the citizens of Lackawanna County. Mr. Welby, let me make a note here. Frank Scavo, Old Forge, Pennsylvania, pizza capital of the world. I did forget to introduce myself.
Thank you.
So, if it's not our job, then whose job is it? The last thing I want to see is ICE agents tenfold in the streets picking up suspected illegal aliens. They're not picking up your neighbors if they're legal. Let's cut that right out. These are enforcement efforts to the best of their judgment and documentation. Are they going to make a mistake? Absolutely. People do. But the point is, if you enter into a 287G law enforcement agreement, I've seen it during my incarceration as a misdemeanor in Fort Dix Federal Correction Institute. I've seen illegal aliens come in, illegal aliens under detainer, and within 24 hours they were gone. I'm in general population. I spoke to them. They all have great stories, but unfortunately, they didn't come in correctly. It's filling out a couple of forms. It's not the end of the world. Most of them will have paid coyotes to bring them here. That's a long trip from wherever you're going, even if it's only Mexico. So the point is, by cooperating with ICE, you send one ICE agent into your detention facility, which might be Lackawanna County Jail, and they walk out with the guy. We don't know if they're right, wrong, or different, but that is an arm of the United States government that's here to protect, under Tom Holman, certainly with ICE, here to protect what? The guys and girls and families in Lackawanna County. I don't know why anyone would want to work against that or have any premonitions or propaganda to say otherwise. It's just crazy. Now, here's the best thing. Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt just announced they found illegal alien pedophile offenders voting in our elections. So now the security and the sovereignty of the United States are at stake because why? We have illegal aliens that are they're predators and menaces, but they're also watering down your vote. Another thing, served on the old Ford School Board, trying to keep property taxes at a minimum. If we have to now educate the children of illegal aliens who are illegal, what do you think that does to your property taxes that we are trying to, I'm not sure if we're all trying to, but some of us are trying to say property taxes are too high. So it's simple. The more we do on the 287 to cooperate with authorities to remove the cost, the expense, the risks, the threats, it's a win-win. I don't see any way that we should be saying, well, we're going to do this and not going to do that. Look, you may get sued, you may not get sued. That's not a reason to stand up for the citizens of these United States, Lackawanna County, and wherever else you may be. Because, again, I don't know if somebody's illegal. I can't tell. But should it be my job to know if someone's illegal? Shouldn't the governments that we elect do the same thing? So, Mr. Welby, I'd like you to consider this very, very intently and hopefully err on our side if that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Janetta, Scott Township. This is a sad day for Lackawanna County as we stand on we're here at the brink of the commissioners approving a sanctuary county ordinance, putting us in with jurisdictions like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh that are sanctuary jurisdictions. They're the hotbeds of the original defund the police movement. You know, I've said it before, we should be cooperating with federal law enforcement to keep everybody safe. Last meeting I mentioned the illegal alien that was having sex with the 14-year-old in the car behind a business in Dixon City, and that's unacceptable. We should not tolerate that. We should be cooperating with federal law enforcement. We don't want them out roaming the street, picking people up randomly, but if local law enforcement and local county officials can cooperate with federal officials and have a more targeted enforcement of individuals that are a danger to our community, I would rather see that than no cooperation at all, and then you have federal officials wandering everywhere where anybody could be subject to being picked up on the street. I think there should be cooperation. I think that keeps everybody safe. And I think passage of this is an embarrassment to Lackawanna County.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think before we move on with the agenda, all three of us truly, genuinely appreciate the comments from all sides of this issue. Truly, and personally, honest to gosh, without exaggeration, I'm torn on it. I truly am. Listening to the comments over the last several weeks, months now, and Attorney Kelly and Mr. Cohen and all the rest of you that have made such valid points, and the points contrary to the consideration of this. It's difficult. Do we consider passing this, or do we consider delaying it and considering other options for the future? I don't want to get ahead of the agenda, but all three of us and our staffs and our council and our department heads throughout Lackawanna County truly appreciate the input that all of you have provided in this very difficult time. Also, I'd like to remind you that one of the considerations is the hopefully improvement in the perception of the Immigration Customs Enforcement group. There truly are. We have witnessed the murders that happened out in Minnesota, and we also realize that those two incidents that just are almost beyond comprehension, I don't think are represent all of the law enforcement agencies in ICE. Just as we have horrid members of every organization. We have a Scranton police officer that was just charged recently with horrible crimes, not convicted, but charged with these crimes. We have horrible people in law enforcement. We have horrible people as elected and appointed officials in politics. We have horrible people in clergy positions. We have horrible people in teaching positions and youth sports activities. But we don't totally condemn any of those bodies. And it makes it difficult for the three of us, I think, in moving on this. And I don't mean to get ahead of the agenda, but all of your comments, all of your input is genuinely appreciated. Moving on, Resolution 260114.
This is approving the current payables. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approve the following payables. Lackawanna County's General Fund numbers 399-015-399561 inclusive, totaling $1,306,394.80. The county's electric fund transfers, including all payroll accounts, totaling $15,501,498.64. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15, 2026. Mr. Chairman.
Do you have a motion to approve Resolution 260114?
Make a motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution approved. Resolution 26-0105.
So authorizing the District Attorney's VOCA grant. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County hereby authorizes the submission of the grant by the District Attorney's Office to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the Lackawanna County Victims of Crime Act 2025 through 27 grant in the amount of $183,490. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15, 2026. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is the District Attorney's Advocate, Ms. Donna Cirillo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll be very quick. This is a continuing second year only grant of the VOCA grant that we have in our office. It supplies partial payment for benefits and salaries for at least 7 people in our office, in the District Attorney's office. It's a non-competitive grant through Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency.
Thank you. Motion to approve 26-0105.
Motion.
Second.
On the question? On the question, we realize this is an application, not an award, but we do want to mention to you personally and to your team the appreciation for the grant activity that you pursue. Your department is just an absolute bear in going after this money and having great success with it. We appreciate it, and thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution approved. Resolution 26-0106.
Authorizing the application to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby authorized the Planning Department to apply for a grant from the Commonwealth's Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the project Lackawanna County Open Spaces, Trails, and Outdoor Recreation Master Plan. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15, 2026. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is our Director of Planning, Ms. Mary Liz Donato.
Good morning, Commissioners. As stated, the Planning Department is seeking your approval and authorization signatory on the grant to the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the County Open Space, Trails, and Outdoor Recreation Master Plan. We last had this endeavor back in 2004. We did it with Luzerne County as a bi-county plan. DCNR has suggested that we do it separately. They would actually like the 2 counties to do it separately. So Luzerne County has already submitted their application, and we are in the process of doing it now. So I'm here for that. approval.
I appreciate that. Since 2002, huh?
2004.
2004.
I'm sorry if I
excuse
said
me.
two, yeah.
24 years.
Yeah.
Motion to approve 26-0106.
Motion.
Second.
On the question. We do need this grant in order to successfully apply for future grants?
Yes, for us and local municipalities as well can use it as a tool, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution approved. Resolution 26-0107.
This is approving the LSA grant amendment. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby amend Resolution 25-0306 for the statewide local shared assessment account grant program to the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for the University of Scranton's nursing simulation equipment grant application, which requires an adjustment to the amount of the funding requested to the amended amount of $213,328.00. Adopted a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15, 2026. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is our Director of Economic Development, Mr. Tom Carlucci.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today's resolution is a straightforward amendment to a previously submitted grant application through the statewide local share assessment program, the LSA grant program. This update adjusts the funding request, as stated by Mr. Jeffers, to $213,328 for the University of Scranton's nursing simulation equipment project, based on the revised cost estimates required by the CFA. This action does not create a new project or require county funding. It simply ensures the application continue moving forward in the state's review process. If awarded, this grant will support workforce development by enhancing hands-on training for future healthcare professionals in our region.
Thank you. Motion to approve 26-0107.
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution approved. Resolution 26-0108.
It's approving and entering into a consulting services agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby approve and enter into a 6-month consulting services agreement with Lawrence J. Lukasik of Roaring Brook Township at $100 per hour in order to assist the Lackawanna County Roads and Bridges Department in carrying out its duties as set forth. Adopted regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15, 2026. Mr. Chairman, Director Larry Lukasik is retiring from Roads and Bridges. He will stay on as a consultant to help transition with the new director that's coming in. We don't have a new director yet. In fact, we're putting his applications are out there now for those who want to apply for the position. We're putting it up early so that he has time to help with the transition. He's also going to help with the consulting for the bridges projects that we have going on, that are currently going on, and when the new ones start, it'll be bye-bye. He wants to really go anyway, so I don't think he's going to stick around too long to help out, but we'll try to keep him as long as we can.
Motion to approve 26-0108.
Motion.
On the question?
Second.
Just on the
Excuse me.
question, just I'd like to add to that too. So I do spend some time up at Roads and Bridges. Larry's a very knowledgeable person, has been here a long time. We have over 150 bridges, 30-some miles of road. It's a busy place. We need some good people up there. We are searching for someone to replace Larry. And that individual, I would hope that we could find someone that has some engineering experience, some bridge experience, road and maintenance experience, dealing with employees. There's a lot going on up there. We have a great crew. It's small but mighty. We're adding to them as much as we can. We have great equipment. We have great buildings up in the Mid-Valley Industrial Park. So it's a good place to work. The county's a good place to work. So if there's anybody out there looking, please apply for our Roads and Bridges Director job.
I'll second that one, too. Is there a cap on the consultancy fee for weekly or monthly?
Oh, it's 16 a week?
Okay, good.
16
good.
hours a week.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution passes. Resolution 26-0109.
This is entering into an agreement for the prison. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby entering an agreement with the Lackawanna County Prison with Siemens Industry Incorporated to perform preventative maintenance to commence April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027. Adopted a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. David Bolzoni.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This request pertains to a renewal of the HVAC maintenance system at the prison. The agreement is for 1 year with Siemens Corporation. The contract is automatically renewed annually but reprices every year. The HVAC control system is proprietary, and therefore the service to the HVAC system is also proprietary. The renewal cost is $39,280, which represents a 4.4 increase from the prior year. And as the Chief of Staff noted, the contract runs from April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2027. Approval is recommended.
Motion to approve 26-01009.
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 26-0113.
So approving the state food grant agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby approve the grant agreement between the Lackawanna County Department of Human Services and the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 for the State Food Purchase Program. Adopted a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman, here to speak upon that is our Director of Human Services, Ms. Barb Durkin.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to request your support for the county entering into an agreement with the Department of Agriculture at the state for the State Food Purchasing Program. This is a yearly program that the county administers along with the United Way, which is a provider agency. It funds the food banks across the county. There's no county match. It doesn't cost the county any money. It doesn't cost us any money to have the provider administer the program either. It's simply a pass-through. We're delayed at this point simply because of the budget impasse, so we're really eager to get the funds out to the food banks in the county to make sure they can serve the community. Happy to answer any questions you might have. The cost is about $455,000, and that gets dispersed on a RFP eligibility basis to the providers that make that request.
We have a motion for 26-0113.
Motion.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Motion approved. Resolution 26-0116.
So adopting an enforcement policy. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby adopt the Lackawanna County government policy for interaction with federal, state, and local enforcement inquiries. Adopted a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. On the question?
On the question, a few months ago, as everyone knows, I introduced the Protect Our Neighbors ordinance, and I did that for a very simple reason. Because there was no clear policy in Lackawanna County for how our employees should respond if and when federal immigration agents show up and ask for access, information, and cooperation. When there is no policy, in my opinion, what you get is confusion, inconsistency, and potential risk for both employees and residents. My proposal was pretty straightforward. It said if federal immigration agents come to the county, we will follow the law, but we will not go beyond the law. No cooperation without a judicial warrant, clear lines, clear rules, clear protection. Over the last few weeks, there has been a lot of discussion, public input, and disagreement, and that is a good thing. This is not a minor issue, clearly, listening to all of you over the last few months. This is about how a government treats people. It's about trust and who we are as a community. Commissioner Welby put forward a policy. It is not the policy I originally envisioned. It does not go as far as I believe it should. It does not create the bright line rules that I think many in the public were asking for, but it is also true that this policy is not nothing. It provides guidance, it creates a process,
It ensures employees do not act on their own without legal oversight. And in a situation where we previously had no framework at all, I think that that matters. So I will be supporting this policy, not because it's perfect, because I don't think it is, but because it is a step forward in the right direction, and I believe that we can continue to improve it. The reason I brought this forward in the first place was more than just procedural, it was moral. In this county and in our country, we are a nation of immigrants. And right now, no matter what your political party is or what your political ideology is, it is factual that there are families in our communities who are living in fear. I know because I talk to them. Fear of reporting a crime, fear of sending their kids to school, fear of walking into a government building and simply asking for help. And that is not how a healthy community functions. That's not how public safety should work, and that's not who we should be as a people. This policy is not about stopping law enforcement. It's about making sure that Lackawanna County does not go beyond its role and does not become a part of a system that creates fear and uncertainty in the very communities that we are supposed to serve, whether you are an American citizen, whether you are an illegal immigrant, whether you are an immigrant. We can protect public safety and still protect our neighbors. Those things are not in conflict. They are part of the same responsibility. So today, I support this policy as a step forward. I think there's much more that we can do. Again, the ordinance that I put forward I thought was strong and made sense. I appreciate the help from the Community Justice Project and the Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition. But honestly, there's really is not much more that I can do in speaking with Commissioner Welby. This is where we are now, and this is what needs to be passed. So I hope the conversation is not over and it continues, but this is about whether every person in this county, no matter where they come from, feels that this government sees them, respects them, and serves them. Thank you.
Also on the question as well. I've spoken on the record, and it's been mentioned. I've named lives that were lost by taken by illegals. I've stated on the record that I'm not going to vote to limit federal law enforcement or any law enforcement, and it's very simple. And I stated this on the record at the last meeting. How we operate here is if there's a question, you call our solicitor, and we call the chief of staff. That's what the employees will do. It's very simple, and we'll take it from there. But I cannot vote to start a sanctuary issue. I'm not going to vote to impede law enforcement, and that's where I stand. So,
Thank you. I'm obviously torn on this. I feel very strongly about a lot of the issues, but also I'm very concerned about a lot of the issues. Very concerned about how this can impact our county with something that we don't foresee. This is the hometown of Joe Biden, and I believe that we have people in Washington right now that would be eager to make an example of something in President Biden's hometown and do things that certainly aren't welcome here. There's issues that exist as far as how we will be treated and perceived by some department heads in Washington because of our position, and how this is perceived by many as becoming a sanctuary community, which we are not and will not be. At least the county, from its perspective, will not be. I appreciate the comments, Mr. Cohen. I appreciate the comments from you and your wife and the people in this room, as well as all the people that have reached out to us by email and in personal conversation. A lot of members of the IHM order have been in constant touch with us and providing input, and it's appreciated. It truly is. And I question whether to postpone this again and not pass it, although I don't know how that affects us legally if we do not pass it, if we can bring up a revised version in the future or not. And if we do postpone it, what that revision might be with consideration towards possible ramifications that could affect the county in the future. I do also know, as Commissioner Gahan referenced, that we can, based on this, with further conversations, possibly amend it in multiple ways in the future. Again, I appreciate and thank you for your input on this important issue to so many of us. I have 3 nieces, one born in Korea, actually I have many nieces, but one in particular, my sister Anne Marie's daughter-in-laws, one from Korea, one from Japan, one from Dominican Republic, and there's a lot of issues regarding that. In fact, in particular, the one from the Dominican Republic is her sister is a member of the Immigration Customs Enforcement Bureau, and she feels very strongly about the enforcement of those issues. It's not an easy issue for any of us, and I appreciate your input. Appreciate the input that we all have received. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for all 3 of us. Anything further on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
I'm a no.
Resolution passes. Resolution 26-0112.
This is the appointment of for the Lackawanna County Conservation District Board. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby reappoint the following individual to the Lackawanna County Conservation District Board. Mr. Frank Kozik of Oliphant, Pennsylvania, term effective immediately and to expire December 31st, 2029. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a motion to approve 26-0112?
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 26-0115.
This is an appointment to the Lackawanna County Library Board. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby reappoint the following individual to the Lackawanna County Library Board. Ms. Maureen Brennan of Mayfield, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2028. Adopted at the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 26-0115?
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Sorry. On the question,
Yes.
just Mrs. Brennan's here today, and I just
Yes.
want to thank her for all of her work on the library board, and happy that you're continuing to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 26-0117.
These are appointments to the Lackawanna County Disability Action Committee. Be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County is hereby reappoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna County Disability Action Committee. Mr. Joseph Salva of Oliphant, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2028. Ms. Nicole Bachman of Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2028. Be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County does hereby appoint the following individuals to the Lackawanna County Disability Action Committee. Ms. Kristen Zantis of Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2027. Ms. Anna A. Cook of Scranton, term to begin immediately and expire December 31st, 2028. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Lackawanna County held on April 15th, 2026. Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 26-0117?
Motion.
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Opportunity for the public to address the board. It'll start when you begin.
Thank you. Former Commissioner Lorraine Cummings. I spoke with someone in Luzerne County about what they do for illegal immigration, and apparently they're following that, 287 to assist federal law. So I hope that now all of the illegal immigrants from Luzerne don't come running up to Lackawanna now because of this. If they do, And something like what happened to Irina Zaritska happens here. This is Irina Zaritska, wherever those cameras are, who was murdered on a ride going home by an illegal immigrant. Many are like that, and Commissioner Chermak has called their names. But I'll bring her picture every time I come so you could see this poor girl who was stabbed to death, died within minutes on the train. So if something like that should happen here in Lackawanna County, are you personally held accountable? Because I know Commissioner Chermak doesn't represent the part of our county that supports anything like this. So who would be held accountable? Do they file a lawsuit against you two or the taxpayers of the county? Because I don't want to have to pay that lawsuit. Another issue that happened in areas where they did nothing about illegal immigration is where the nurse, Mrs. Good, and Mr. Preddy were hurt. This is what it sounded like. That's what happened to Mr. Preddy. That's what was going on around all those officers. That's what they heard. How does an officer, 7 officers, know what's happening in that kind of noise? That's outrageous. And we have people here in our county that are probably willing to do the same thing, which is shocking to me. I hope not, and I hope it doesn't happen here. Now while I'm really here, today is the day for us to get our last discount on our taxes. So I'd like to read the Citizens' Righteous Testimony, which I did not write. I've posted it. I'm being taxed on money I never made. Let that sink in. I bought my property outright for $60,000 in 2015. Now the county says it's worth $246,000. Did I add square footage? Nope. Did I add an extra bathroom? Nope. Did I add extra upgrades? Nope. Did I sell it? Nope. No. Did I make a profit? No. Did I get a check for $246,000? No. But my taxes jumped like I did. That's the problem. This isn't income. This isn't cash. This is a number someone decided on paper, and now I'm being billed for it. If my stock portfolio doubles, I don't pay taxes until I sell. If my income doesn't increase, I don't magically owe more income tax. So why does owning a home work differently? Why am I being taxed on unrealized gains? A house isn't just an investment. It's where people live, and this system means you can do everything right, pay off your home, and still get squeezed harder every year because of a number you never turned into money. You don't truly own something if you can't be taxed out of it. This isn't about services or inflation. It's about being charged for value you never received and people are starting to notice. And I'm going to make sure that I'm here as many times as I can to remind people of that fact. County taxes in my property have doubled since I left office in 2020. That's outrageous. Now, I've heard the complaints, well, you guys should have increased taxes incrementally over the years. I'd still be at the same point I'm at today, and so would everybody else. Houses are going up for sale like crazy in Old Forge. Take a ride through the streets. People are trying to get the money that you guys are saying that they were assessed at on a sale price, which is not going to happen. It's outrageous what's happened in this county with reassessment, tax increases, and now this craziness with ICE, which is just a distraction. But thank you for listening, and I hope when you do the budget next year, you give us a tax cut, because the taxpayers certainly deserve that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joan Hodawan at Scranton. Today is April 15th. Do you know where your tax refund is? I don't. I better. You promised me the list of property owners who had just recently been caught by Tyler Technologies and added to the tax rolls. Do we have that document yet?
No, but he is working on that. He's really
Good.
consumed with the normal operations on dealing with
Well, keep-
reassessments after 58 years. He spoke to us, and it is
Well,
on his list.
Keep working on it, because I'm here to tell you, there are an awful lot of decent, hardworking people in Lackawanna County, and a lot of them are not rich, yet they dig deep into their pockets, as Laureen will tell you, to pay their taxes. And if there are people who knew people and managed to keep their properties off the tax rolls, well, they need to go on the wall of shame. And because they're due all the recognition that we can give them. And I would like, if I get that document, I would like to give a copy to the newspaper, to WVIA. You know, I mean, there's nothing lower, other than maybe a criminal, than a tax cheat. And so I'm not going to let them get away with it. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is another favorite of mine, the County Literacy Committee. Now, the website says that their next meeting is tomorrow at 5:30 here in this room. We shall see. Because the doors were locked in January, and the doors were locked in February. In March, the doors were locked, but at least they had the courtesy to put up a sign saying, the Literacy Committee meeting is canceled. Now, they were set up in November of 2022, and the enacting legislation says they are to, among other things, conduct monthly public meetings. So I checked the website. Now, the documents, the last minutes that are posted to the website are for February of 2025. And it was a virtual-only meeting. Now, I understand that people need and use Zoom very effectively. But me, I'm in favor of hybrid meetings because I want to look you guys in the eyes. I want to put the fear of God in you, because I will take a look at what your mandate is and I will hold your feet to the fire. And if you don't like it, resign. That's my feeling. You know, the county and city of Scranton, they have problems. And so a lot of times what they'll do is they'll create an authority or a task force or a committee. Look at Scranton. They have this homeless task force, which they set up quite a while ago. But you know who cannot get into these meetings? The public. You know, so we had a homeless problem, but we took care of it because we have a homeless task force. Well, what have you done on the homeless task force? Well, we can't tell you because we don't have minutes. And the public is not welcome to come to the meetings. But in the future, they may have a subcommittee to which the public might be allowed to come. I don't want to see the Literacy Committee become that kind of joke. I know what their mandate is. Literacy is so important. You look at the recent results of the Pennsylvania state examinations, Scranton and Carbondale school districts. Literacy scores are going down, and we're 5 years past COVID. Look at the national statistics for prisons, and this is on the committee's website. 70% of all inmates in this country are illiterate. You don't see a connection? Do we got problems with gang violence in Lackawanna County? We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're penny wise and pound foolish. So I'm going to be standing outside the door tomorrow, and if they do have a meeting here, I'm going to be asking some hard questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Sarah Balmer again from Covington Township. And I want to thank 2 of the 3 commissioners. I want to address the 3rd commissioner briefly. I was told by multiple people that you were a lost cause, and I defended you, saying, I don't know, he seems like an okay guy. He doesn't say that much, but I hear he drives the snowplow when they're short-staffed. How bad could he be? So imagine my horror when you finally spoke at the last meeting. And I understand you probably feel you have a party line to follow, but the way you spoke I found very offensive. I couldn't get out of my mind, and I was ashamed of myself for not saying anything at the time. You could have maintained your position while still showing a shred of humanity to the men and women who showed up here week after week after week, afraid for our families and our friends. You sat there and you listened to me, obviously emotional and nervous as I am now, afraid to speak publicly about our experience. You saw me holding the picture of my beautiful, amazing daughter, and I stood here telling you how afraid she was and that we just installed cameras in her vehicle following the racial profiling incident at the University of Scranton. And yet, when you had the opportunity to show a shred of empathy, you instead took your time to demonize immigrants, to highlight the infinitesimal percentage of crimes committed by undocumented immigrants, and to use that as your justification to not protect your neighbors. I find this reprehensible, and I think that you owe the immigrant community an apology. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to address the board? Commissioners' comments?
Yes, thank you. Just really briefly on the data center issue, there was a meeting on Monday up in Archibald, and there was close to, if not over 500 people in attendance. It was the biggest crowd that I've seen since I've been going to these hearings, and it was about the development called Wildcat Ridge, which is, out of all the data center developments, this one is probably the most egregious and the most offensive to me personally and to all of the people that were up there. One of the questions that I've posed now the last several weeks, and people have asked me about this, is whether the county can get involved from a legal standpoint, because the Wildcat Ridge abuts against a county housing property. Another data center development, Green Mountain, Project Green Mountain, is, I think, a half a mile or less than half a mile away from a county park. And these are huge industrial monstrosities. For Wildcat Ridge, we're talking about diesel tanks that hold up to 10,000 gallons of diesel fuel. So there's all sorts of issues with it. So I understand that, and I'm not asking right now for a decision to be made on whether on the county actually doing something in terms of entering the proceedings as a party or anything like that. I'm just asking, can the county do that, and what would that even look like? And because people are asking me every single day. So I would like to make a motion to have the board ask the solicitor and the law department for guidance on the questions that I've posed regarding data centers, the air quality ordinance over the past few weeks, which I've said publicly, and specifically because the county housing property is right on the border of this data center development, does that give the county any ability to do anything? And again, I have people calling me, texting me, messaging me online every single day asking this question. So I'd like to make a motion that we at least get guidance, not committing to doing anything, because I don't think that would be fair to my colleagues at this point without some kind of guidance, but I'd like to make that motion to ask the solicitor and the law department for that information.
Just first, we appreciate that, but a point of order. This just came up this past week legally regarding introducing a motion that is not on the agenda. As legal counsel, what we started to discuss, and we haven't really discussed it at length, is this in order, or do we have to move to ask for a motion to be made?
Or I'd put it on the work session agenda for next Wednesday. I don't really care. I just want to answer.
We might be able to do it just in.
You have to make a motion to amend the agenda and then vote on that, and then make a separate motion of what you're looking to do.
Okay, I won't even make a motion. I'll just ask.
Well,
I'll just ask to put it on the work session just to talk about it.
I'm perfectly fine whether we approve. So this is data center stuff is really starting. I mean, it's ramping up drastically, and we do get questions all the time on where the county stands, what can we do, you know, and there's points of argument where, as commissioners, you know, we can't just dictate what municipalities can do. I can't tell New York State what they can do. I can't tell New Jersey what they should or can't do. But we do have, you know, in my opinion, we do have an obligation to the residents of Lackawanna County to at least look and see what we can do. You know, I've stated before that I don't think these things should be built in anybody's backyard. I mean, obviously, I don't want them tapping into our water supply, you know, and then we get into pollution and noise issues, and there's all kinds of things. And I think we definitely need to start talking about this as a board of commissioners. I'd like to get together with some of the experts, and I'd like to put together a meeting with some of these experts on the development side and see what they want to do, and then talk to, so we get the facts. But I think that what we can talk about the work session. I have no issue with looking into what's legal, what's not legal. But it's getting out of control. Obviously, we had almost 500 people in a meeting in Archibald the other night. You know, everybody's looking at it. Everybody's concerned. Everybody's worried about, you know, all the trees that were chopped down all over the upper valley. It looks like a war zone. You know, so there's a lot going on. I'm not certainly, I mean, I live in Dalton. If they were doing that in Dalton, I'd be all over it. So it's something we need to look into. And for our constituents, I mean, we have to.
As a point of order, we'll have to make a motion to amend the agenda. Is that correct? And then
I do, but I think.
I'll withdraw my motion.
No, but we want to do this so that it is in order.
I understand that, and you do have to make an amendment a motion to amend today's agenda,
Yeah.
and then we start all over from the beginning again. So what I'm trying to get at here is, it sounds to me that the three of you are in agreement on having the solicitor give you some guidance on this for our work session, and that's exactly what you can do, right? Okay.
We don't need a motion then.
You don't need a
Withdraw my motion. There you go. And to Commissioner Chermak's point, I understand that we are limited as commissioners in what we can do, but my specific question here is in relation to these two specific projects, because one, again, is butts up right against a county housing authority property, and the other one is a half a mile away from Aylesworth Park, a county park. So, okay, thank you.
I still would like to make it part of our motion here and make it official and make it a motion by the commissioners to move forward with this. Would you like to make a motion to amend the agenda to allow for an item to be amended or added to the agenda?
I'll make that. I'll make it. If you want to do that, I'll make the motion.
I don't think you have.
Second.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
The motion has been made to amend the
Do we have to amend the agenda? I think you could just.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think what's important that the chief said is that we would have to start the process of the meeting all over again, and you'd have to invite.
You're amending the agenda.
We'd have to start the meeting over again.
We start from scratch.
Yeah, so in the absence of having to do that, if there's an agreement amongst the chairman and there's an agreement to handle this at the next work session, we might have to start the whole meeting over again in as formal a process, and it might save some effort or misinformation. Right?
Commissioner, as an additional point of order, Robert's rules state that if a motion is withdrawn, it's no longer in front of the tribunal. So I believe Commissioner Gahn withdrew it before you made your motion to amend, and therefore your motion to amend is not for any reason that currently exists before the tribunal. I think.
The tribunal, I've never heard that term.
Well,
you guys are.
It sounds like somebody's going to get hurt here.
I wanted
PJ.
to make you feel more important than you already are.
Thanks.
Now, we could have Commissioner Chermak make a separate motion, but you know what, just in matter of efficiency, I think we all agree that we are going to deal with this, and it's not going
That's
to
all I
escape
want.
us. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. And then just last comment from me. I just want to take a minute or two to talk about something that touches every family in Lackawanna County, whether you rent, whether you own a home, whether you're raising kids, or you're trying to retire with dignity, and that is housing. And I've been hammering this about data centers for months and months and months and listening to people all over the county. The number one issue, besides data centers, is housing. So while all these developers are buying up and gobbling up all this land, and they're going to make a desert out of Lackawanna County with data centers and power plants, what we really need to be focusing on is housing. Over the past year, Lackawanna County partnered with the Institute for Public Policy and our economic development and a broad coalition of our region's colleges and universities to take a hard, data-driven look at our housing market, where we are, how we got here, and where we are headed. It was built from census data, market analysis, and just as importantly, conversations with the people who deal with housing every day. Developers, realtors, nonprofits, municipal officials, employers, and residents. And this is the study. It's almost 300 pages. It is a wealth of information and is extremely, extremely, I think, important. What this says is pretty simple, and it's really sobering. Lackawanna County's housing market is at a breaking point. The study found that for decades, the county was a place where housing was affordable, and that was one of our strengths. But that reality is obviously changing. Since 2020, housing costs, both home prices and rents, have risen sharply, faster than incomes for many families. And while on paper, we are still affordable compared to the rest of the country, for working families here, for seniors on fixed incomes, for young people trying to buy their first home, it really does not feel affordable anymore. The study points to several key problems. First, we don't have enough housing that people can actually move into. Inventory is down dramatically. Listings are down. I think since 2017, they're down about 70-some percent. First-time home buyers are being squeezed out. And second, much of our housing is simply too old. A large share of homes in this county were built before 1960. They're part of the character of the county, obviously, but they come with real costs like repairs, lead issues, and energy inefficiency. So what looks affordable at purchase often becomes unaffordable to live in. Third, renters are under real pressure. The study shows that for many renters, especially those earning between $20,000 and $35,000 a year, more than 80% are now spending too much of their income just to keep a roof over their heads, and that is not sustainable. Fourth, we have vacant properties, but they're not usable. Nearly half of vacant units in this county are sitting empty because of disrepair, legal issues, or abandonment, not because they're ready for someone to move in. So we have the illusion of supply, according to this report, without the reality of it. And finally, and this is critical, our system for building housing is fragmented. We have more than 40 municipalities, boroughs, and townships, each with its own zoning, rules, and processes. And what this study makes clear is this. We have built a system that makes it easier to say no than it is to build what we actually need in the county. So what does this all mean? It means that this is not just a housing issue, it's an economic issue. It affects whether employers here in the county can attract workers, whether young families can stay here, whether seniors can actually stay in their homes, and whether our community here in Lackawanna County grows or whether we slowly decline. And according to this report, and this is why I'm bringing it up today, if we don't address this now, this is only going to get worse. The good news is this study doesn't just identify the problems, which we probably all knew before this study was even put out. It gives us a clear path forward. It tells us we need to stabilize families who are struggling right now, invest in repairing and preserving existing homes, prepare vacant and blighted properties for redevelopment, modernize zoning to allow the kinds of housing people actually need, and reduce the uncertainty and delays that makes projects harder to build. The most important part there, after I read this report, is first of all, stabilizing families. We have a great rental assistance program in the county. We need to build upon that because there's so many people that are literally getting evicted. I know that the Economic Development Department won an award in the last few months for their rental and eviction program in the state of Pennsylvania. I think we need to expand upon that. The second most important point is investing in repairing and preserving existing homes. I know this just as someone who lives in the middle class with 5 children, and I'm sure everyone here would agree with me. Our homes are older. I live in a house that was built in 1930, and it costs a lot of money to repair the roof, to repair the windows, to repair everything in my house, and we just don't have the money to do that. So there are programs out there to help, but we need to get everybody together so we can make more of an impact. Because like I walk every day down Pittston Avenue in Southside, and I'm sure this is the same across the county. People's homes are in disrepair, and it's because they literally cannot afford to repair them. So I think we can make a bigger investment in that. But most importantly, and I'm getting to the end here, it tells us this: no single municipality, no single agency, no single policy can solve this alone. So today, I want to begin the conversation and begin to take the first step. I am proposing that we begin to discuss Lackawanna County establishing a countywide housing task force, a group that brings together municipal leaders from across the county, developers and builders, nonprofit housing organizations, lenders from the banking community, major employers, and planning professionals. And it's really to do one thing: to work together as a county to solve this problem. This task force would identify where we can build and where we should build, help align zoning and planning across municipalities, boroughs, and townships, develop strategies to turn vacant properties into housing, support, and this is, I think, the most important point, support preservation and repair of existing homes, because that is, I think, our #1 issue in the county at this point. And then, most importantly, create a clear, coordinated plan for housing in the county, not 40 separate approaches, one coordinated strategy. Again, and in closing, we have a choice. We can let this problem grow quietly year by year until it becomes a full-blown crisis, which is the path we're headed down now, or we can act now with data, which we have with 200+ pages here, coordination, and a clear plan. We have a great opportunity here. The population for the first time in a long time in the county has increased slightly. I think in talking with Larry Malsky from the Railroad Authority, we are going to have a train here from Scranton to New York City. That's only going to increase our population and increase the demand for housing. So I think we need to get everybody together and create this task force, take this report, put it into action, create a coherent strategy, and I think that in the long run, it will really, really be beneficial for the county. Again, there are different people doing different things. I'm not saying that no one is addressing this, but we need to get one coherent strategy together. And so hopefully I'll work with Commissioner Welby and Commissioner Chermak on this. We'll start the conversation. I know our Economic Development Department is already moving in that direction, and I give them a lot of credit for getting this together with all the other partners, and looking forward to working with everyone on this. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I want to thank everybody for coming and for voicing their opinions. We talked about the data center issue. That was going to be in my remarks, so I don't have to cover that again, but that is definitely something that is really, we have to look into and what we can do. And housing, that housing issue, that's been a problem for a while. I mean, it costs a lot of money to maintain a house. It costs a lot to pay your taxes here in Lackawanna County. With the recent reassessment, I mean, the property values have been raised, vacant land has been raised, industrial, commercial properties have been raised. So it's difficult for a lot to pay their taxes, as a lot of these businesses, I'm sure, are looking to, maybe vacating the county just because of the expense, that what it costs to be here. But, we need to look at all these things. So looking into that is not a bad idea. And as far as, my statements and how I feel about immigration and laws here at the county, and, I have a sister-in-law and a family that are Vietnamese that live here. They came here legally. They're fine. I have no issue. I have the documentation where my grandmother came over from Italy at 9 years old. came here legally, they're fine. I have no issues. The policies, the ordinance, everything that we're talking about here really has no influence on what goes on in Lackawanna County. It's basically what happens in this building. So any issues that went on in the public, or is there things that people are thinking that could happen, this has no jurisdiction over that. So it's up to our police departments, our state police, local police, federal law enforcement to enforce the laws that we have here in this state, in this country, in this county. So other than that, I'm okay.
Thank you. I'll be short. We've discussed pretty much everything here, and there's a lot more discussion to be had, and considerations to be perhaps made in the future. And appreciate Commissioner Gaughan's references regarding housing issues. It's critical, and I think we all know people. We all probably have family members that are being affected by the housing issues that exist, and a lot of it stems from absentee landlords moving into the area, buying up properties, and after buying these properties, telling their tenants, their long-term tenants, that the rent is being doubled or they have to move out today. And it's illegal, but people believe them, and it's really affecting a lot of our residents. It's making it difficult. Also, it's a given. Today is the last day for the discount on your property taxes, and that is having a huge, the changes in property taxes having a huge effect on a great deal of people. I mean, it's been 58 years since we've had a reassessment. The increases were inevitable just based on what was allowed to happen over 58 years, and it's not just recent administrations that caused that to happen. Part of it is a need to adopt legislation in Harrisburg that mandates the reassessments. I think it's just human nature that county commissioners are reluctant to pass legislation that's going to affect and cause a reassessment, knowing that if they do that, they're not going to be elected next time out. And I think that's been a root cause for the county commissioners in the past to not enact legislation. But they've already considered legislation in Harrisburg in the past. Hopefully they'll pass it, and that is to establish a timeline where if reassessment hasn't been done in X amount of years, then it has to be done by state mandate. And hopefully we can get to that point and avoid this from happening again, as it is now with the changes that are in effect and the people that are being affected by it. We have over 600 cases that are going into mediation now from appeals from last year. We have appeals that are being filed as of this past April 1st. We have projections already by PFM and other people that based on shortcomings in anticipated revenue, and part of it comes from losing close to $1 million in hospital revenue that went from a nonprofit from commercial property to nonprofit. And in other areas, they're already talking about that it's important for the commissioners to consider a tax increase for next year. For the end of this year that we vote on that, I don't think there's anyone sitting here today that could possibly vote for that, knowing what our residents have gone through over these last several years and what they're going through in particular this year. So the housing crisis runs deep, including to the point where people can't pay their taxes and are faced with issues because of that. But we do have to look at that, and some of the points that Commissioner Gaughan made are incredibly important. Sometimes if a house next door to us is falling into disrepair because the person that was there moved away or passed away, and we want it torn down because we think that people are living there illegally or there's rats or whatever over there, and we want it torn down, instead of perhaps adopting an attitude that's going to call for that property to be restored and perhaps with some support from foundations and government entities that will allow that to transfer to a young family or a veteran family or whatever it might be, to give them a chance to have their own home. But it's something that this is a lot of reading, and maybe just to go through it, we'll go through it right now. I'll read it all. All right, we won't do that. we'll excuse you. It has been a long morning for you, but we honest to gosh appreciate the input that we have in person and also the input that we have from all of our residents and our visitors, that their intentions are good and from their soul and from their heart, and we appreciate it, and thank you all for being here, and may we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
So moved.